What's good, y'all? It's your boy, PHILLYTALK with PA. Today, we got a bit of a more serious, episode. Um, we're dealing with AJ Brown today. Um, Now, start off, we know mainstream media, they've been circling the rumors of AJ traded and he's on the trade block in New England, all these teams. First off, Howie, that's not happening. Adam Schefter said that's not happening. So I'm not worried about that, but that's not really why I'm here. Um, AJ Brown, especially since he was in Tennessee, has been a big time mental health advocate, and I think people need to respectfully get their head out of their rears and actually, take account and actually listen to look at what he's saying. Sometimes with these cryptic tweets and whatnot, Eagles fans included. Um, I would advise people to go and read the New York Times article slash athletic that just dropped. Um, I read it, um, and it really gives insight to a player, um, to a player's mindset when he says what he says. When he says when he posts after a big time game or whatever, like if you're not welcomed, like step back and be on your way. If you read the article, he's actually talking about like mental health related stuff, some struggles there. So I mean, it's a big thing. We know Lane Johnson talks about it. Uh, Friend of the show, Brandon Graham. He's talked about that stuff uh, a lot as well. Him and his wife are doing some good stuff there. But the people need to start. This is all goes back to how mainstream media, mainly you know some of these major, a couple of these major networks. We're not going to call them out by name, but y'all can probably take a guess as to who those major networks are. Have they completely like like just dropped the ball on covering sports, especially these last few years? Like we've seen people in the media who have no business. Sometimes like it's like they have no business talking about what they're talking about. Um, and it's just sad. Like you see a guy, AJ Brown, like when there's a couple when he talks about tracing greatness and when he has that feeling like I don't know if people do drugs, like I don't know people that do drugs. I don't do drugs, so I don't know what it feels like. But when I'm catching the ball, when I'm making the highlight plays, that rush feels like drugs. Um, it's Well, once again, I would recommend like y'all read that article. It's really good stuff. Um, and people like Diana Rossini came out with that report, obviously, of if AJ's unhappy, you might want to get traded. That's looking back on it, it's not crazy to say. Obviously, if a player, because we saw this with Stephon Diggs, how his relationship, like, it seems like they're so cool, but how that relationship with Josh Allen and the Bills kind of soured. The end of his tenure, he was saying those cryptic tweets, whatnot. You see it with guys of lesser tier, Romeo Dobbs, Brandon Ayuk, um, those kind of guys. But with AJ, there's meaning. He's not just tweeting out random things after like using me, but not using me after a win because like he didn't get the ball. That's not why. He's not one of those like Antonio Brown. That's not his reasoning. And I think we have to do like media. We have to do a better job of covering the game. Not enough people actually take the time to sit down with players, talk to players. I think it was Brooks Kubena. I hope I did not pronounce that gentleman's name incorrectly, but I think he broke the story, that AJ Brown New York Times story article. Not enough people like him take the time to sit down with players, actually, dive deep into the why, the how. I'm feeling this way. Why I tweet this? Um, like people think that wide receivers are divas and they don't get the ball. Like they're complaining. Wide receivers are a dependent position. They need the ball. Like in order for their career to thrive, you need the ball. This is not. I'm not breaking news. No one else is breaking news really. You see when Chase or Higgins or Jettas or a lot of these guys when they're not getting the ball, it's like, hey, like when Tyreek Hill's not getting the ball, he's like, hey, like what, like what's going on? Um, you know, there are certain guys that don't really be talking like that. Devontae, uh, he's like one of those guys. He's just gonna go out there and do his part, and you know that's okay. Like AJ speaks out when he's frustrated. Devontae doesn't really do that. But I mean, except for that time like 2 weeks ago, when when players like Devontae Smith speak out, they're like, yeah, offense, like we just struggling right now, can't get a rhythm, like consistent rhythm, we predictable. That's when people start listening. Because AJ Brown, Steph Diggs, all these guys can talk and Jettas when he's not getting the ball. But when guys like Devontae speak out, guys that you don't normally hear talk like that, that's when it's an issue. It's a team thing. But yeah, this all goes to show like mental health. That joint's important. And I think honestly that's something that should be taken more into account. Because media, they're gonna run with what they run with. And as a player, like if I'm AJ Brown, like especially with that last one, like the using me, not using me, I think he admitted like, yeah, I was kind of trolling the media a bit with that one. I don't want to put words in his mouth, but I think that's what he said. Um, the one really, if you're not welcome, he posted that quote, like if you're not welcome, not listened to, quietly, like just shrug your shoulders, be on your way. Um, it's I'm with I'm gonna say this again if I didn't already. I am 100% on AJ Brown's side. When you play in a city like Philly where fans are great, but sometimes you're not producing like that, and you're getting kind of money, getting paid that kind of money, you can start to hear the rumblings a bit from the fan base. And then on top of that, you already got to deal with the media that does not like Philadelphia sports. Some of them are making it too obvious now they don't like Philadelphia sports. When you're dealing with all that and people are making accusations and, oh, there's reports he wants to go here and go this, and you didn't even say half the stuff they're saying, I would feel some type of way. And obviously I'm never probably going to be able to, I'm never going to be the level of professional athlete AJ Brown is. So I'm not going to ever feel that type of pressure. But if I ever did, I'm 100% would feel what AJ Brown is feeling right now and why he's speaking out. That being said, shout out, because some players would have stayed silent. Some players will bottle it up over years. We see when the guy like Russ Wilson takes a lot of heat over the years, bottles it up, doesn't really say anything back. But when a guy like Sean Payton fires at you for no reason, you're like, okay, like I've had enough. When Stephen A. Smith slanders LeBron so much to the point where LeBron like hasn't really said anything like he said to Stephen A. Smith in his like 20 plus year career, LeBron's like, hold on, like I gotta say something now because y'all tripping, like y'all doing me wrong. Um, yeah, it really falls on the media because they're they don't for a man to post cryptic stuff, for you to go at that and say, oh, Eagles want to trade AJ Brown, and not take a second back to think maybe it's because all the false reports that we've been putting out. Maybe it's because like if you actually covered the game, you would know that he's been a strong mental health advocate. He's partnered with a like players health, mental health company. He's doing all this stuff off the field, all this great stuff off the field. Like if you actually cover the game, you would know that. But no, like it has to mean he doesn't like Jalen Hurts. He's not cool with Devontae. Like I see videos. It's probably mainly because I'm in the Philly media. I see videos of him messing around with Coop at practice, going at it with Quinion. I see it talking up with Blaine Johnson on the sidelines. Jalen, dapping him up. Like these are like I don't think people understand, like, especially for AJ, Devontae, Jalen. Like people will say, guys like Shannon Sharp, they'll be like, it doesn't matter. Like these guys have been like boys, like cool like that since high school. Like it's not, and AJ and Jalen, there's obviously a family bond there, as well. Um, like like people will say like, well, that doesn't matter what's on the field. It should matter. Your relationship should matter. Like if you weren't cool like that, because we know there's been quarterback and wide receiver duos. Um, I think Josh Allen, Stephon Diggs are the most recent example, or Tyreek and Tua. I'm like guys, like they're clearly not like cool like that off the field. Like they don't be hanging out like off the field, but like on the field they'll be like together and making plays. But off the field, like y'all had that teammate, high school, college, pros. Like y'all weren't really cool like that. Like when y'all were on the field, that was that team camaraderie. Um, that is not the case with this team. With AJ, Jalen, Devontae, these guys, clearly ride or die for the city. Like AJ Brown has stated multiple times, like I want to retire for this team. Devontae, we know he breeds Philly. Shout out Devontae. But at the end of the day, Philly, they don't like us. We don't care. We all know AJ is gonna ball out. Not many receivers can have 120 yards on only 4 catches. There's very few receivers that can do that in this league. We know AJ is going to ball out when given the opportunity. We know Devontae is going to ball out when given the opportunity. We saw Jahan Dotson ball out when given the opportunity. Darius Cooper, his time is coming. Saquon, when he gets the opportunity, balls out. Jalen Hurts, like they're the biggest example of like when the haters are the loudest. Like that's when he plays like the most out of his mind. To heights, like to unforeseen heights. We know that with Jalen Hurts, the epitome of Philly athletes. But I just feel I had to put this out there because people are tripping too much on AJ, and it's tweets mean, and he wants to leave Philly and he hates Jalen Hurts. That's not the case. Y'all gotta stop. Y'all gotta stop. Y'all like because y'all don't know. Y'all don't cover the game. Y'all don't know. Like one of my favorite YouTube shows. I'm not gonna name it, but I love that show. I watch that show almost every night. They don't why they don't go into every detail when it comes to this stuff. They just look at the report and they go off, well, Hurts only had this, and AJ might want to get up out of here because this is that. Like it's just it gets to a point where AJ is doing a New York Times article mid-season. We normally don't see players do articles like this mid-season. Times like this. But hey, respect to AJ Brown. Philly, we rocking with you. Shout out rest of the team. Hopefully get that bye week. Next week, big one against Green Bay. AJ is gonna be ready for that. Coming off that hamstring. We know the rest of the crew. Nolan Smith coming back as well. Hopefully Jacorian Bennett. We'll see what him and Michael Carter look like. I'm extremely excited about Michael Carter. Jacorian Bennett, obviously, we'll see what he can bring. Potentially some limited snaps as well. But it's your boy, Philly Talk with PEA, where we always keep it real, always keep it a stack, keep it a buck. I'm out, man.